I had to change my plans at the last minute today because of the weather. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, you're right. So I'm on the river, but not the spot that I was planning on going to today. It is just a little bit after 2 p.m. in the afternoon, but it feels darker. It looks darker. It's cloudy, little breezy. You can see that the river looks rough because it's a little breezy. I'm a little protected by the wind right now where I'm walking. So we're walking over to the spot where I'm going to fish. I've got an idea of what to do. I was gonna go to a further spot, further away, where I could get into a deeper hole, but it's further away, right? And now, within around sunset, as early as sunset, even possibly earlier than that, but definitely after sunset, lots of rain is in the forecast. So at the last minute, decided let's go to a spot to where on my way home there's going to be less chance of getting stuck in the rain, because this spot is just closer to the house. It's easier to get to the house from here. The other spot, getting to it can be complicated, and as I walk up onto the spot that I'm going to do, I'm exposed to the wind. So there we go. So what is my idea for making this work? We're in an anchorage. It's not a crazy water depth. We're probably going to be fishing deeper than 20 feet, but we need a really deep hole, and this just isn't it. Yeah, you're right. So there's probably fish here. I think there's a really good chance that the catfish that's here, for the most part, in higher numbers than blue cats, is going to be channel cat. And because it's winter, I'm of the school of thought that you should keep your bait sizes small. There's other tactics to employ that work better if you're in a boat, like such as if you don't get a bite within 15 to 30 minutes, it's just a fair span of time there, 15 to 30 minutes, move to another spot. For some people, it's easier to do that if you're in a boat, but if you're stuck in one spot like we're going to be right here in this anchorage, if we don't get a bite somewhere within that time span of 15 to 30 minutes, we'll try to cast into a different part of it, but we'll probably just always end up in the same area. So yeah, that idea doesn't always work, but if we keep our bait small, we should hit it into a fish. But what we also need to think about is what fish are in that area, and that delivers you to the hook size. So that's what we're doing. We're going to drop the hook size down and the bait size down and see what happens, and hopefully we stay dry. So I've got one rod to tie up, but I've already got this one ready to go, but it's a 6/0, and I want to drop the hook size down. But I tell you what, let's do this one for one and something for the other, right? So this would be the something. Well, we're gonna do 6. That didn't make sense to somebody probably. Let's keep that for just a minute. Let's just go ahead and put this out real quick and maybe change it later. See what happens while I'm getting that one ready. I'm not 100% sure if the big log that is right here in front of us is the same log that was previously in front of us, because it was further that way. It may very well be, but it could be another one. But a lot has changed. The river has come up, and it's gone down, and it's come up. So I'm using a different soft cooler today, and I forgot to bring the bait scissors, pull them out of the other one, and the little bait knife. Well, luckily, I always have a knife. So for this one, we'll do a little headpiece. I would consider that a little bait. You already know the hook size, 6/0 octopus. It's a Gamakatsu. So you probably know everything else too, but maybe you don't. That's a mono leader, 50-pound mono. Sinker slide, 4-ounce lead, 80-pound braid, and a jet flying over. I bet the current is very strong. I can feel it. I can feel it pulling on the lead, trying to take line out. But I'm going to shut it down. It was in that direction right there, roughly. That was the cast, right? It's already trucked the lead, pointing at the back of, what is that? Epic Radiance is the name of that ship over there. Epic Radiance. Looks like a paint pole floated up. Something. Yeah, I think that's a paint pole. I hope I've made the right call and coming to the river at all today, because it is really rough. It does not instill me with confidence, doesn't fill me with confidence at all. More than halfway with this rig. I spent some time early this morning when I got up tying leaders of different sizes, 6s and these. We're going to use a kale. I'm going to use a 3/0 kale. If I can get it out, there's a whole bunch in there. There's 6 of them I tied up. We'll get the first one out that will come out. There we go. Success story. Not a success story. That's not a one I tied up today. I want one that I tied up today. Those are ones I tied up a good time ago. There's a difference between the two, today and many days ago. Here's today. You see what's up? This is a snelled kale with 50-pound mono. It's a 3/0 kale. And the way I have it is the line, the leader, is coming through the front, like the hook side, out to the back. Now let's unfurl this. I always wrap them like this so they become less of a mess in the bag. When the fish bites and I hit, see the pressure, see the way I pull, the pressure is in line with the point of the hook. That's the idea with the snell. That's why they're very popular, very effective. Not all hooks are easy to snell. This one it's possible, even though it's a straight, you know, the barb, not the barb, I'm sorry, the eye of the hook isn't offset. So for some people it may seem difficult, but it is possible. You can do it. See how the pressure just pushes on that hook? It's in line with the hook. Keep looking over my shoulder. You haven't seen anything. This is called a cow hitch. Put that loop through the eye of your swivel and then put the hook through the loop and cinch it tight. There we go. Starting to feel like I should have brought 6 ounces out. I don't typically use 6 ounces. Well, not at this spot. I do use 6 ounce lead, but not typically at this spot, at this level. This is only like 7.3 according to the Carrollton flood gauge in New Orleans. I've used, I think the heaviest lead I've used in the river down here in Louisiana is 8 ounces, but we were at like 19 to 20. We had the spillway open. I mean, we were in a high flood stage, so we had a lot of current. For this bait, even though it's going to be a smaller bait, we're going to start with a bigger fish and we're going to fillet. Little tiny piece of bait, open on one side. This is the fillet style. Put this on the 3/0. I think we're going to end up catching something, possibly a channel cat. The idea here is when you drop your hook size down, you're going to be able to catch fish with smaller mouths that might be feeding. This is where you end up after coming out in winter, skunking several times, and now you're frustrated and you want to come to a spot and not get skunked, so you're willing to catch whatever is there, small or big, right? So that's the idea. But at least we have something out that makes us think a big fish could hit, and then we'll get surprised when the big fish hits this. It's possible. It's happened that way in winter. And many times nothing's happened too. It's winter. You should expect the winter skunks. It happens. If there's a power plant in front of you when you're fishing, that's a different story, because yeah, they're putting warm water in your hole. But ain't nobody putting warm water in our hole today. It's all cold, it's all flowing from the north, and it is dirty as all heck. Dirty and racing down to the Gulf of whatever you want to call it these days, really, really fast. So we're going to come on this side of these willows here, try to cast up river at an angle, like not too close in, you know, not too tight, but just at this angle right here, to where the drift isn't going to go bother the other piece. Okay, not that great of a cast because of the wind and the position I had to do it in, but it got it out there at an agreeable distance. Let's just hope that it stops drifting way before the other one. We'll shut it down, go ahead and make sure we don't have slack. There's a lot of slack on this one for some reason. The wind is putting that slack on it too. That's definitely a factor right now. Oh, I feel like I need to look at the weather because things don't look good. All right, so I think my drift is okay. It appears to have stopped, or it's just really, really slowed down, but I think they're gonna stay far apart from each other. You can look into my catfish playlist, look really, really far back, many years ago, because I've been doing this for 14 years. And you'll see me fishing in the bywater at a spot that we would call then the end of the world, and I believe they still call it that, where the industrial canal and the river meet. It's right there behind this abandoned academy, a Naval Academy building in New Orleans. There are videos of me fishing during the day and at night from a top of the levee. It's a standard size levee, standard height. I'm up there on top and the river is almost as high as the levee. Now that's a decent hole because we're in a bend there, right? This is not a bend. This is kind of a straight shot. It's not featureless, but it's a straight shot. It's not gonna have a really deep hole. Deep holes tend to be in bends where the river is turning, going around a bend. I guess the only thing that does give me a little bit of confidence, if you could even call it that, is the sheer fact of where I'm located. So far downriver in southeast Louisiana, where when I say it's winter, but in these videos you look around and you see a lot of green and you want to tell me that's not winter, or I tell you how cold it is and you want to tell me that's not cold. Well, I agree, there are colder places and there are places where everything's white and dead, or just literally brown, and there are no leaves. If I was a little further north on this river, it would be bleaker than it is, but this is fairly bleak for this area. This water, that river water, don't be fooled, it is really, really cold. The catfish out there, they believe it's winter, and you should too, but if we were further north, we would have less of a chance, and we'd have more skunks. We'd have more difficulties because the water would be colder and I would be colder. But luckily today is not that cold. However, tonight it may get a lot colder than it is now. It's actually, it's supposed to get up to 60 degrees. I don't know if I'll ever feel like it's 60 degrees out here because of the wind chill factor. But that comparable to what it's been and what it's going to be, 60 degrees or almost 60 degrees is kind of nice. 59, 58, you name it, up in the high 50s. If we just had less wind than we do, it would be a lot better, but it could be a lot worse. Definitely a lot worse. We could go so far north up this river to where it's really, really cold, so cold that the river's unfishable in this manner anyway, because of the amount of chunks of ice floating around and maybe ice shelves along the bank here. We just wouldn't be able to do this. We would be somewhere else. We'd probably be somewhere where there's maybe good ice and we could walk out over the fish, but I don't think it would be catfish. It is possible to do that, catfish through the ice, but there's so many other things that maybe you would be doing other things. Some people wouldn't even be fishing. They would be doing other things inside, next to the heater. I am completely and utterly bored. I don't know if this is bad luck or one of those times where you go, wouldn't you know it? Ready to start a fire? And it's raining all of a sudden. I think we just call it weather. Because what did I tell you? There's a possibility that we could see some rain on this session. Kind of glad I came here. Haven't seen a bite. I feel like I'm looking at a skunk. And I'm gonna have to ride home. Well, hopefully it's not raining when I ride home, but I don't know what to do now. Just, they're big drops. I just looked at the weather and it didn't, I didn't see it coming. But hey, there's dark clouds above us right now, so you can't really go by what the weather says. You just go with the flow. This might be close to being done. I don't even know if I should light that now. Well, the good news is the rain hasn't got any worse. It may be just stopping a little bit. So we're gonna have a fire. Also, the good news is if the rain comes back really heavy, we won't have to hustle to get the fire out. Cotton ball soaked with Vaseline. The dried roots off the willow trees, those form when the river's high. Some people call that witch's broom. I'm not too worried about it. Everything's wet, right? But yeah, do you know what I'm talking about? California's burning because they're dry, and we're not dry, and I'm responsible. I was thinking about California to some degree when I cleaned up around here, but generally I would do this anyway, regardless of a fire somewhere else. You know, I've been living in Southeast Louisiana now for over 20 years, and I've only seen a fire ban once. I've only seen us go through a drought that created a pretty wide expanding fire ban, and that was recently in the last couple of years, right? So it's 4:17. The rain has come, the rain is gone, the rain has come back. It's raining currently. Well, I'm not ready to run off quite yet. Let's go ahead and check baits. Empty on this one. Empty on this one. Let's put a body piece on the rod that had the head piece. And I got a small fillet piece, a little bigger than the first one I put out. Let's put this on this 3/0 kale, just like that. We're looking at this rod right here. It just had a tap. That's the first tap I've seen too. Not enough to make me run over there and get excited, but it's definitely something. We're getting deeper in the afternoon, so fish are probably starting to hustle and bustle, feed a little bit. Look at this. It's 55 right now. By 9 o'clock it'll be at 51, but for 5 right now we have 90, then 80, 80, then 90, then 90, and then 100% at 10 p.m. So I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay, guys. 7 after 5. I'm going to assume that here at some point this rain is just going to get steadier. It's just sprinkling right now. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up one rod for the moment. We're gonna slowly pack up. We got our cards on the table for a last minute bite on the 3/0, the small piece of bait. I'm not I'm not feeling that bet. Not confident, but we'll leave it there just in case for the moment. Let's get some stuff together. Oh, interesting. There's no bait on here. maybe this will give me a barge bite. It is something to hope for. I just want to go ahead and start the process because home's not that far away, but I don't want to ride home in thick rain. The other spot I was going to go to is on the other side of the river, and I wanted that to be a sunset session, and it just looked like I was like, I can't trust it. Let's stay close. What is that, fireworks or guns going off somewhere? IRL, that's what this is. Mississippi River Catfish Fishing, IRL. In real life. Gotta be responsible. I don't think we'll ever end up like California, hopefully, but don't even want a small version of that, right? So I'm gonna put a little more water on it. This is called fire management. What else could I do? Screw it. Screw it. I have an absolute dislike for uploading skunked videos, but I have a greater absolute dislike for going without a video. So yeah, you're right. Mississippi River catfish fishing in real life in winter. This is it. So just because I talk about going to a deeper hole doesn't mean if you go to a deeper hole in a bend that you're automatically going to catch. I'm just saying you're going to increase your odds. If I was able to go to one, if the weather wasn't so iffy, so bad today, I would have just merely increased my odds. Doesn't mean that it would be the polar opposite to this session, which was not good, but I was not surprised. You just increase your odds. You could absolutely get skunked in a deep hole too. It's winter time. The water's really, really cold. But down here, there's a little bit of a chance of catching, but not much. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, good on you. Yeah, you're right. I will see you next time.